Okay, that's me, Hank Wasiak. And that's my Twitter account. And here I am, an old school guy, and that's what I put up. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is not about advertising and marketing. I can do some of that, and I'll be happy to. I'm going to talk to you about change and dealing with change. And that's what I had to do in my life. So that's me on Twitter. I love that stuff. That's how I met Mario. He had a friend. He tweeted me and said, hey, you got to meet this crazy guy over in LA. Go meet him. We did, and we met on Twitter. It's all about social connections. So what I want to talk to you today is about change and how you manage change. And when you hear change, what do? You usually get set back on your heels. Don't you? Change is not one of those words that comes at you in a positive way and say, holy crap, give it to me, I want it. It tends to be something that sets you back on the heels. The devil I know, better than the devil I don't know, you know, all those things. And so that's all coming at you. And if you're in the ad business today, in the marketing and communications business, change is a way of life like I've never seen it before. So it's fantastic in terms of what you got to deal with. So how can you deal with change? I'm going to talk to you how I do it through something called asset-based thinking. And I want to clarify that it's called asset-based thinking, not acid-based thinking. A lot of people hear that. And I grew up in the 50s and 60s and had enough of that stuff, and I can tell you acid-based thinking will change your perspective on things. But this will change it a little differently. So that's what it's about, and it's asset-based thinking, and it's a powerful and positive way to live your everyday life. It's not profound, it's simply profound. And it's something I discovered when I had the bricks dropped on me. And it's a way that you focus on the positive side of life's ledger, what's working and what's possible, rather than all the negative crap that we all deal with. And you know, Court, you and I can relate to this. In the business we grew up in, all we do is solve problems and no, no, no. So you have to learn how to deal with that and get through all of that. And I did that by teaming up and meeting somebody named Dr. Kathy Kramer. She's a great psychologist. In St. Louis, she founded this. Where it is that? You're going to go work? Boom. The Stress Center. And when I had my issues, I met her, and we looked at each other and said, I like that stuff. She said, I like what you do. And she said, let's create some books together. And I've never written a book. She's written 4 of them. We totally changed the paradigm of a book. We created this book together, changed the way you see everything. It's visual. It's Madison Avenue meets positive psychology. Every ad was a spread. We put the cover backwards. We did everything you shouldn't do to publish a business book. Took us 14 publishers, but we finally got it published. But so that was the thing that brought us together. And we're now on our 3rd book, and the 3rd book there is for teens. We're taking that for teens. And if anybody wants to do something in their life and feel freaking great, it's go work with a tween or a teen, just like we were saying. You come out blown away. You learn all the time. So what you can do with asset-based thinking is look at change as the most positive, disruptive gift you've ever been given. And that's what I've learned to do, and still doing it every day. And so let me give you a little more background on that story. I started at Benton & Bowles in 1965. I'm one of the original Mad Men guys. Anybody watch that show? Great show. I love that show. I write a blog about it. The only difference that I can tell you is it's pretty much spot on, but when I got there, we were smoking more than Lucky Strikes. They're going to get to that, I assume. But it's a great thing. So, but this was me. It was my first day at Benton & Bowles in 1965. That was me a year or 2 ago at a company called the Concept Farm. And lots changed, as you can see. But what I've been through this business for a long, long time. I'm 46 years in it now. And I've seen it go through every change, even client side and agency side. And what I've turned into is, I tell everybody I've gone from a madman to a Twitterholic. I think that all the stuff that's going on now is the best thing that ever happened to our business. It's shaking it up at its core. It's fantastic. And all my friends at the holding companies that were saying this stuff is never going to work, what are you going to do with it, are eating their words right now. And there's a revolution going on that's fantastic. And that's the revolution I wanted to be part of. I was vice chairman of McCann Erickson. I'm not ashamed to say it. I was 62 at the time, running half the world from a can, put in a lot of time, and I was right in the middle of this digital revolution, and I was saying, wow, what can I do for this? I got a tap on the shoulder from my good friend John Dooner, who said, hey, Hank, you're 62, all this new stuff is coming, it's time to retire. And I didn't want to do that. And at just about a year before, I had helped my son, Greg, start a company called the Concept Farm in New York City. It's a very hot, cool, creative company. They had a nice vision, and I helped them fund it and just gave them some good advice and moral support. That's when I met Kathy Kramer, and she introduced me to asset-based thinking. And what I learned how to do is to look at change totally differently and see it as the best opportunity that I could ever get. And I got pissed off and was bitter about it for a while, but after that lasted, I then looked at what was possible, what was working. And what I was able to do with my son's company was have the joy of going to work with my son and his friends and use their vision that I helped them form in a small way as a portal for me to do things that I've never done before. So I'm now 68. I'll be 68 in July. And in 4 or 5 years, we've published 3 books. We've created 2 television shows. I've won 3 Emmy Awards. I'm not saying it because it was me. For hosting a show in New York that I ever did, I got in touch with my inner self and volunteered. I'm now on the national board of the American Heart Association. I got back to teaching, and I'm teaching at USC Marshall School of Business, all because I got asked to leave earlier, and all because I put asset-based thinking to work. So let me take you through a little glimpse into what that is. First of all, asset-based, these are visuals from the books. I'm just pulling them out. Asset-based thinking is, you're not born an asset-based thinker. Where's Jessica with her 2 little twins in there? They're going to not be asset-based thinkers or deficit-based thinkers. And this picture is great. These 2 kids are just hanging out. What's up? They're just looking at the joys and possibility. Their parents, one of them is going to be an asset-based thinker. The other one's going to be what we call a deficit-based thinker. You're not programmed that way. It's a choice you make. You can make that choice all the time, and you have to make that choice every day of your life because things come at you, good things, bad things, not so bad things. So you make a choice to see it either positively or negatively. And when we worked with some of the kids that we worked with, and they expressed it, I'm sorry, I'm screwing up the slide thing. Go back. And this is a part of our team book. They expressed it as, hey, that's like having networks in your mind. And it is. So think of asset-based thinking, deficit-based thinking as networks in your mind. And the good news is they're channels. They're broadcasting all the time, 24/7. Good things are coming at you, crap's coming at you. And what you have to be able to do is realize that you have this. You have the remote for that channel. And just like everything, I don't know about you, but I'm still learning how to use this remote. And you got to learn how to use it, but you own it. You can't blame anybody else. It's broadcasting. You can switch to the positive side or the negative side. And you control that. And once you realize that, it's a big, big step. And that's what I realized. And the other thing, and that's my grandson in the picture, by the way, and he happened to say, hey, Grandpa, the other thing that's on that remote is a mute button. And that's important because sometimes there's so much shit that comes at you, you just want to turn it off. Don't be afraid or ashamed that you do that sometimes. So that's important. And what it's all about from an asset-based thinking, see if I can walk and chew gum at the same time. Asset-based thinking, it's about small shifts that make seismic differences. Make small shifts in your life that come at you every day. And start turning things from anxiety into anticipation. Look at things, just take things that are negative, turn them around, look for it, look for the positive. Now, a lot of times people will say, that's glass half full, glass half empty thinking, right? That's all it is. Well, it is in some ways, but who here is a glass half full thinker? There's a lot of them, we heard them. Who here is a glass half empty thinker, they think? No hands go up, some do. Who here thinks their boyfriend, girlfriend, or boss is a glass half empty thinker? A lot of people do. And it's a good question, but it's the wrong question, because the answer is it's both. And what you have to focus on, and you learn how to focus on when you deal with change, is not is it half full or half empty, but what's in the glass. If you focus on what's in the glass and that's your question, it's a moot point whether it's half full or half empty, because it'll become, the more you work on those things that are in the glass, the better you'll be. And those things that are in the glass are assets, no surprise. And there are three things, we call it the glass half full, half empty, SOS. What SOS is usually a distress call, right? In asset-based thinking terms, it's a wake-up call to get in touch with what's in the water in that glass. And the three S's stand for three things: self, others, and situations. They are all assets at your disposal that you have to work with. The one that's the most important, and we heard a few speakers talk about it here, is yourself. And it's the one you spend the least amount of time with. So if you got to, we don't give ourselves enough credit for things. So that's what I had to do, and I had to focus on it, and really a lot of introspection. And to use the point about passion points does a very, very important. I had to get in touch with what my passions were going to be, and I did, and it just really, really changed things, and it changed the way I saw myself. And I'm going to just take you through 4 or 5 lessons that I've learned that, you know, come out of the book, but also I just put a little personalization into them. And, you know, basically it's under the headline, quite frankly, simple, but when you change the way you see yourself, you can change anything. Once you do that, you can change anything you want. So the first thing you have to do is really get over the whole conventional wisdom thing. And there's a lot of people that talked about throwing conventional wisdom away, and I'm a big believer in that. And the three things that you have to really focus on are looking at power, influence, and impact to get things done. So you have to change your way that you think about power. And I did. Power is not what you have, it's who you are. It's who you are inside. The conventional wisdom of power, knowledge and expertise, material wealth, authority. But instead, it's what are your unique insights, what are your passionate pursuits, what are your values and beliefs, mission and purpose. You heard that from Jessica earlier on. That's what your power is. I thought my power was vice chairman of McCann with 5,000 people and all that stuff. That wasn't it. Then when you do that, sorry for this, folks, you do one other thing. If you could remember one thing about this, is forget perfection and pursue progress. Perfection screws more things up than you've ever seen. And I don't know about you, but I grew up with it's got to be perfect. You know, the art directors, you got to do that. In today's world, especially in the marketing world at least, perfection is not the answer. It's progress. Measure yourself by the progress that you make. Another one, see the problem as a pause. I don't know, you grow up with problems. They're insurmountable. I got to spend all my time getting around them. They're not. They're just a pause. Get around them as fast as you can. If I had one thing I could change in my life, I would have gone from being an opportunity advocate rather than a problem solver. I grew up being a problem solver. Solve a problem, get a great pat on the back. I missed so many opportunities in my life, personally and professionally. And if you really focus on that, not that problems aren't there, but put them in their perspective, pause them, get around them, and move on. Get the hell on with it. How about influence? This is an important one. Instead of looking at my influence, and you heard about this about community, it's about our influence. Not my influence anymore, it's our influence, and that's enabled today by everything that's going on in social media. And the one that I like the most there is on the first. Instead of thinking about changing other people's minds, focus on having your mind changed. And that little shift for you will make a big difference in the way you see influence. I think the best influence you can have is when somebody changes your mind about something. You've gotten through and you've done it together with them. It's a great reward. There's another one that we did an exercise with the teens. And we said, who's on your Mount Rushmore? Admire openly and often. Find people, not 10, but find 4 people that you think are great, and they'll change from time to time, and go tell them why, and admire them, and then learn from them. And the great news about that is what you admire in somebody else, you want more of in yourself. And you identify with that and you move it. So admire often, and this is a great visual I just had to share with you that one of the kids did. And when you do that, that's him with a picture of Babe Ruth trying to be a batter like that. You imitate shamelessly and often, and you realize that mentors matter. Mentors are so important. And you know, at my stage in my life, I am the poster guy for reverse mentoring. I think that reverse mentoring, where you use younger people and people that are, you know, maybe do not have the level of experience that you have to teach you, reverse mentoring is fantastic. And then the last one is in terms of influence, and you heard it here today from the other three speakers. We focus on three things: substance, sizzle, and soul, three S's. And most of us spend most of our time on substance. Cost of entry today, you can Google substance anytime you want. Don't worry about it. Sizzle, you have to stand out. It's not a bland world. But soul is the most important thing that's going to get you things done. And it's what it matters to you. And it's an inverse proportion. We spend most of our time on the substance and the sizzle, and the least amount of our time saying why it's important to me, and crying about things and being emotional about it. That's why you got your funding. You put your soul on it, and you put it out there for everybody else to buy into. And that's what social media, I think, allows you to do today. The last thing is just conventional wisdom about impact. And what we try to do is to ask people to look at impact. It's not what you want. It is what you want, but not just that. We want it to be what you want and line it up with what the world needs. Finding something like that. If you can line those two things up, you hit a home run. And so what I've learned later in life is you find your mighty cause. We all have one in us. My mighty causes right now are two. I'm going to save as many lives as I can at the American Heart Association, especially people with stroke victims. And we are going to take that team book that we have and put it in schools and give them away and get curriculum. We're going to get kids thinking like asset-based thinkers. So everything I do, if I go, you know, do anything from a business point of view, I align that with it. And it makes everything a lot better. It makes me better at everything that I do. And what you do is jump in. And there's one thing that I've learned, and it was hard for me, to make desire more important than fear. You grow up fearing things. If you make desire more important than fear, you run towards it and you go towards it. And that's a great thing to live by. And it's hard to do sometimes. Last but not least, live your legacy now. Don't wait till later on to leave something. Know what it is, but live it now and see it come alive in every day. And it is amazing what it can do for you. Where am I? So that's how asset-based thinking has brought me around to saying, screw it, I'm reinventing my life. I'm going to do it around my causes. And it re-energized me to say, I want to be in this business, in the ad business, and really rock the world here. When I shouldn't be. I should be out playing golf. I'm not going to I do that, but I'm going to do this. And it's all because of asset-based thinking. And I see this when I talk to my students, you couldn't pick a better time to be in the marketing communications business. The world is open, the playing field is level, and it's passion and creativity that are going to rule it. So that's my last message is get off your assets and go take a break. But thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.